When you create a measure using an aggregate function, Power Pivot calculates that measure's value for every row summarized in the pivot table field. You can filter your pivot table to limit your data, but if you find yourself creating the same filter many times, you should consider creating a measure that incorporates that filter into its formula. In this movie, I'll show you how to do exactly that. So we'll jump into Power Pivot, clicking the Power Pivot tab on the ribbon, and the Power Pivot window button. And we will create a measure that includes the filtered formula. So to do that, we'll click the Pivot Table button to create a pivot table, and we'll put it on a new worksheet in Excel, and click OK. Now remember that we need to use an aggregate function such as SUMX for the filter to work. So I'll create a new measure, and I'll name it Larger Orders, LARGER, and then capital ORDERS. And I'll go down to the formula box. In an aggregate function, you have the name of the function, followed by the table, and then the expression. And the table argument can be a real table, or it can be a virtual table that's created using another function. And in Power Pivot, you can use the filter function to create a virtual table that's a subset of the original table. To give you an example, I'll create the formula equal SUMX, left parentheses, and then a filter, FILTER, left parentheses, and now the filter function takes two arguments, the table that you're referring to, and then the actual filter. In this case, the table's name is data. Type a comma, and now I create a rule that does the filtering. And in this case, I only want to see orders with quantities greater than 18, so in other words, 19 or more items. So for that, I'll type in data, left square bracket, and then we're referring to the quantity field, so I'll type a Q, then a tab to accept that field, then a greater than sign, and then the number 18. Now I type a right parentheses to close the filter function, and now I'm back in the SUMX function. Now I'll type a comma, and now I can type the expression. So first, we'll have the data quantity field, so DATA, left square bracket, Q for quantity, press tab, and I'm going to multiply that by the price field. So type an asterisk, and then data, left square bracket, and P for price. It's the highlighted item, so I can press tab to accept it, then a right parentheses, and the formula looks good, so I can click OK. So you can see from the body of the pivot table that the total of my larger orders appears in cell B4. Now let's compare that to the total of all orders. So to do that, I will drag the order total field to the values area, and you can see that the order total is greater than larger orders. The opposite function of the filter function is called all, and that ignores any filters in the data model or in the pivot table. To illustrate that, I'll create another new measure, and I will name this one all store sales. Then in the formula box, I'll create the formula SUMX. Again, we need to use an aggregate function, left parentheses, the keyword all, then a left parentheses, and then I want every row in the data table, so I'll type data, right parentheses, a comma, and now I can type my expression, which will be, once again, the price field times the quantity field. So data, left square bracket, quantity, type Q, and then tab to accept the highlighted field, asterisk, and then data, left square bracket, P for price, it's highlighted, press tab to accept it, then a right parentheses, and click OK. When I do, Excel adds that field to the data area of the pivot table. Now let's see what happens when I create a report filter based on the store ID field. So I'll drag the store ID field down to the report filter area, and then I'll go up and click the filter arrow. Click the expand control next to all, and then I'll check the select multiple items box, clear the checkbox next to all, and then we'll just look at the values for store 1. So I'll click OK, and Excel filters the pivot table. So you'll notice that the larger orders field changed its value, the sum of order total field changed its value, but the all store sales field did not change its value. And that's because the measure used to produce its value ignores any filters applied to the table. Building a filter into an aggregate function saves you time when you summarize data in Power Pivot. Be sure to name any filtered measures clearly to ensure your pivot table summarizes exactly the data you want it to. Alternatively, if you always want a measure to display the total of every row in the data model, use the all function in your measures formula.